Talkin fight fans, thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Knuckle Up featuring Mike Orr, and we have a special guest for you today, Spencer Wilcox from Canada, man. We got a Canadian on here. You know what it is, guys. I got to rep my hometown, man, big time here, and we have Mr. Spencer Wilcox coming to join us today for this wonderful interview. You guys might remember him from that video that we posted from Wednesday from Rebel Entertainment Complex. Yes, this is him. Guys, you know what it is, man. We're here for this wonderful interview. Spencer, thanks for coming and joining us today, man. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you guys for having me. Love to be on the podcast.
Definitely, man. Spencer, let's get right into it, brother. I know you have siblings that all do what you do, man. The Wilcox clan. You guys are ripping it up big, man, in the Canadian boxing scene. Why don't you tell us about your journey, how it all started, what age you were when you first got into it?
I'm the youngest out of the boys. We only got one other little sister below me, but I was in it basically right from the bat. Once I was out of the womb, had my hand up, and
the womb.
Yeah, gave the doctor a sucker punch. But
okay.
No, so my dad owns Steeltown Boxing Club. Robert Wilcox, he's also my head coach, and he never forced us. My brothers never forced me. It was either if you're in it, you're in it. You know what I mean? You're taking it 100% because it's a very serious sport. People get killed. And if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. There was never a forced second in my household when it came to boxing. But no, probably I started actually training, though, probably around 4 or 5. 4 or 5 is when I started doing three days a week. Then once I hit about 6 or 7, I started doing about 4 days a week. And then once I hit 8, it was about 5-6 days a week.
Wow.
And then since then, yeah.
Well, yeah, you grew up in the gym pretty much. Do you remember?
It's crazy now seeing other kids that I've been coaching, remembering them being so little, and now they're coming up. And it must feel how everybody that taught me felt, right? It's a really weird feeling, you know what I mean? I see old photos of me on the wall now from literally a baby in my mom's arms, and it's like, what the heck, man? Makes you feel old, right? It's like, wow, you realize how long you've been in it, right? And I love it, though. I never hated a second of it until when you're cutting weight, you hate it. But other than that,
I was just about to say that. That's the worst part about it, cutting weight.
That's the only time I second guess the sport is when you're cutting weight. No matter who you are, I hate it. I'll always be like, why? Why couldn't I play football where they want you to eat a burger before the game? So you got a little bit of extra weight. You know what I mean?
Right, that's awesome, man. So what age did you actually start competing in the amateurs?
So we weren't allowed to compete until the rules changed now, but in Canada you weren't allowed to compete till you were 10, going on your 11th year.
Right.
And so it was a long time before I even got to compete. But you know what? I was in every training camp with my brothers, even when they're in the higher circuits of the amateurs. I would always be 8 in at the senior training camps, right? So I was always sparring. I was having harder sparring sessions than I would have had fights at that age, right? So yeah, I didn't get to compete till I was 11, but it's nice. So the rules changed now from I think it's 8 to 9. They're called fun box. So there's no winner. And so it's really good because everywhere else in the world it's 8. And we're the only place that was 10 going on 11. So it's 2-3 years, right, where kids are behind now, right? And so that's a lot in boxing.
I know the Ontario boxing scene has really it's been a little lackluster over the last couple of years. I know that it's now on its uprise. I know promoters like Lee Baxter, they're doing big things for Canadian boxing scene. Rebel Entertainment Complex. I'm telling you, what a great venue.
I love that venue. Love it.
Yeah, definitely. Probably one of the best venues I think in Ontario at the moment.
Sure, sharp, man. Sharp, compact. Can't get much better than that.
What do you feel when you get in the ring at Rebel? What's the feeling you get? Because I know it's a lot of hype. There's a lot of lights. A lot of people don't understand the kind of atmosphere it is. How does it feel as a fighter?
I'm lucky to the point where I had a lot of amateur experience that a lot of people around here don't get. You know what I mean? I fought on the biggest stages. I fought at the Youth Olympics. I fought at the World Championships. So ever since the age of 16, I was really fighting the best the world had to offer. And you get used to, not used to it, don't get me wrong, but I mean, when I fight, I've learned I do better when I don't necessarily, I care so much that I don't care. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean? If that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like I psych myself out where it's like, I don't really care who I'm fighting. I don't care who's watching. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I got an amazing support system. Win or lose, I go home. My mom's shoulder's there for me to cry on, right? It doesn't matter. So for me, it was a little mental trick that I taught myself in boxing. It just helped me mentally. Just yeah, don't get me wrong. You get excited, but I don't really care about the crowd, and I don't really care who's watching. You know what I mean? I think like I only found out it was fighting on the DAZN card, like that section of the card.
Right.
I think the day before, I didn't
Oh,
get
wow.
nervous. You know, mine. You know what I mean? If anything, it made me say, "Oh, I'm smashing this guy even better."
And you did inside the round, man. What a great wow, like what a great shot, man. Honestly, one of the big knockouts of that night.
Yeah.
Honestly, can you run us through that actually? Like how like the
Yeah.
breakdown?
So it was a funny story, man. The boxing world is so small. I remember watching that. I can't even pronounce his name too good. Maximo Toala. I can't
Yeah.
pronounce it too good. The guy who was fighting. So we weren't supposed to fight him. I had another fight lined up, and then 2 days before, our guy, for some reason, the fight didn't fall through. So then Maximo's name came up. Personally, I don't even take the fights. I let my team pick. I don't even really know. I let them choose before I get to say. I'm a fighter, right? I'll fight anybody that they want me to. So it's up to them to make the smart decisions, take the right fight at the right time, and I trust them, right?
Right.
And so when I found out it was his name, I was like, I kind of laughed a bit because my teammate, who's like an older brother to me growing up, Josh O'Reilly, he fought him. I remember years ago now when Maximo beat Muhammad Abedin. It was probably like 6-7 years ago now. And I remember watching that scene like, damn, who the hell is this kid? Like I actually remember sitting in the crowd saying like, this kid's dangerous.
Yeah.
And then my brother Bradley was actually supposed to fight him, and then their fight got canceled. So we've had a lot of knowledge on him. You know what I mean?
Right.
We knew a lot about him, and so it was pretty. It sounds weird, but it felt cool beating him because I remember watching him when I was a little bit younger. No, I'm not talking about crazy younger, but I was probably like 13, I think, when he beat Mo, and I was like, wow, this guy's not bad. You know what I mean? And so it's nice to make a statement like that. Like he went 5 rounds with Devin Haney, so
Yeah.
it's nice to make a statement like that. And I don't know, it's just cool. Small world of boxing. You know what I mean? Who would have thought like 5-6 years ago when I'm watching this guy fight, I'd be fighting him live on DAZN, right? It's really cool.
It was brilliant, and what a display, man. Now a bit of the world knows who you are. They can see that you mean business, man. You're from like, we'll say the Canadian royal family of boxing here, man. What was it like growing up with that many siblings that are ready to throw down at the drop of a hat?
Oh man, it was fun. It was really fun. Like really entertaining. Like you could even ask our cousins and stuff. Like whenever there was like a family party,
Yeah.
it was always our house. Everyone wanted to do it at, right? Because they knew damn well there was going to be something funny going on. Like we grew up playing sports and stuff. We were always kind of the scrappier kids. You know what I mean? In the sports, like I played ice hockey. I played everything growing up, every sport you can think of. I was skillfully, I was a good athlete, but the fighting don't leave you, man. I always ended up somehow, some way getting into a scrap, even if it was basketball, soccer, whatever it was, found a way, right? And most of my brothers are like that, and so you can imagine the stories we have, right? It's
oh my god, I can imagine.
Fighting second nature to us now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I can imagine. I could just imagine because honestly, like I remember the fights that I've had with my sister. Like,
Yeah,
they've been some big ones, right? Like I've been clocked out with my sister, so it's like, yeah, man. When I guess with both, the whole family fights, I guess it's a real throwdown, right?
Oh, for sure, man. Like street hockey was the most serious thing. I got into more street hockey fights with my brothers than I probably had boxing matches. You know what I mean? Like we're the only dummies that would play contact basketball. Like we play contact. Who does that? You know what I mean? Like on the concrete, we play contact basketball. A guy's jumping in the air and then you get pulled down and you're smashed on it. But that was fun for us, right? You know what I mean? We definitely weren't the average household.
No, definitely not. So you got a fight lined up. Do you know who the your opponent is at the moment? I don't know
Yeah.
if you
So
said it.
actually, I don't. Yeah, I do have a fight lined up, but I don't know my opponent yet. Yeah, I'm fighting November 4th in the Brantford Civic Center with me and all my brothers and a lot of other local talent. Will be on the card. I think there's 8 fights total.
Yeah.
Every fight will be a good match. I wasn't allowed to, because my last fight, I wasn't allowed to know basically any information on the November show because they didn't
Hmm.
want my mind to be distracted, right?
Right.
So just today, I like actually this morning was the first time I heard anything about opponents, but they've been talking about opponents for like 2-3 weeks. It's just
Right.
they kept me out of the loop, right? And so I could focus on my fight on my last fight, right, at Rebel. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we're thinking about having a good little step up. You know what I mean? Me and all my brothers were, we don't. I don't want to fight no tomato can. You know what I mean?
No.
I don't
You,
like
you,
that.
you don't want that powdered. You don't want that puffed up or powdered record.
No, exactly. You know what I mean?
Real fighters, man.
I want to be world champion or I don't want to box. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't become world champion by beating tomato cans. And so yeah, opponent's not picked, but expect a little step up. Nothing crazy, but you know what? I want some competition, and don't get me wrong, I want to blow everybody out of the water. But hey,
Right.
man, I want it to be someone better, right? Like I want to
Of
blow
course.
someone out of the water that's got a little bit more talent. No disrespect to anybody I fought, but
Right.
I mean, it just looks better, right? And it
Yeah.
proves my skill level.
You want to challenge yourself too. You
Yeah,
want to.
exactly. I love challenging myself, man. Like that was my first 6 round fight.
Yeah.
I like knocking people out, but I would have really liked to see round 5 and 6
Right.
just for that. But you know what? Hey, man, nothing's better than seeing a grown man drop to his knees and quit. That's what's
Yeah, honestly, what a highlight too, man.
yeah.
Vicious shot. I was ringside for it. I was right on those. I was right on those
Oh, is
ropes.
that you taking the
Camera, that
video?
was me, man. I was right there.
Okay, good, good.
I
That
was
was a
right
good
there.
shot.
So honestly,
One of my favorite videos of the night, man. I love that video. That's a good angle.
oh, it's a great angle. We pride ourselves on taking those angles. We're
Yeah.
definitely gonna try and make it out to Brantford for your
Sure,
family
man.
to
You guys are more than welcome. You don't even have to. Ask. Just keep in contact, either me or the one of the other guys who are running the show.
Yeah,
We'll hook you guys up for sure with some media passes.
definitely excellent. We're trying to really help the Ontario boxing team. You
And
know,
the Ontario boxing scene will not get better unless we have people like yourself, right, in the company you
yeah,
represent.
yeah, definitely. We talked really closely with Lee Baxter. He wants to help us do what he wants to do, and that's really put Ontario back on the map.
100%,
We
man.
we should
100%.
be the mecca of Canadian boxing, not
Yep, I
Montreal.
agree. I agree
Right,
completely. There's no real reason we shouldn't be. You know what I
right,
mean? It don't make sense. We've got everything. It just, you know what? It's a slow process, and it's a hill that's going to be climbed, right?
right.
And honestly, yeah, we want to be the mecca of Canada, but let's make it international. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
I want to make this stuff known. You know what I mean? Like I know, like I really like. I want to bring attention to Hamilton, Ontario for
Right.
boxing. Ontario and Canada. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to bring the whole world to see what we got. You know what I mean?
And we do have a rich history of boxing here in Ontario. We just had a little bit of a hiccup there with
Yep.
Ken Hayashi.
Yeah, no comment.
every time I say that name, I get the same reaction.
Well,
But yeah,
I never had to deal with it, but I
right.
heard like my brothers, right? So I never dealt with it by hand. But yeah, no disrespect, nowhere, not burning no
Right.
bridges. But yeah,
Yeah,
on the
exactly,
same page,
exactly,
right? Yeah.
exactly. We'll leave it at that. What do you think Ontario needs to really make the next step?
Honestly, I'm not even saying because I'm on the podcast. We need a lot of fellows like yourself and like what I said, the company you represent. It's
Mhm.
media is everything right now. I think media is the key to whatever you're doing in the world. Maybe, man, you got guys reviewing water bottles right now, making millions of dollars a year,
Right,
right? Like
right.
media is everything right now, and like it or not, I'm not even a social media guy, but you know what? It's a big part of your product now, no matter what business you're in. So I think the biggest thing is getting a good, solid media in like media and social media following in general.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
For boxing, not just a specific person or a specific company. It's we need more media coverage in general. I think that's the biggest thing. And then I think the biggest thing is Ontario working together. Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
find a lot of the local promoters won't work together, and it's like, you know what? It's tuck your pride to the side and let's do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I really like. I have a lot of respect, even though I'm not signed with Lee Baxter.
Yeah.
I got a lot of respect for Lee Baxter. He's a promoter that will put his pride to the side,
Yeah.
and he will work with other promoters, and that's what we need. That's the type of people we need in Ontario for sure. And people like for instance, I'm managed by I have a not on paper, but Mark Irwin is like an uncle to me, a classic boxing company, and he signed my brothers. And we need people like them. They're willing to work with all companies for the better of the fighters, right?
Right.
And
Definitely.
not burn any bridges. That's the biggest thing I find a lot of these promoters will do. They'll burn bridges for unnecessary reasons.
Yeah, which doesn't help, man, because it makes the entire industry suffer, and like we have such a thick, deep talent pool of boxers here in Canada and in Ontario, and it's about time that we get onto that big stage. And I think people like you and Lee Baxter and your brothers and everything, and the way that you guys are performing and really showing what we have to offer, and Lee giving us opportunities and you opportunities to be on a card like the Zone to get you out there worldwide is really, really detrimental to the success of Canadian.
For sure, man. It's even like the company I'm signed with, Probellum, like phenomenal people. You know what I mean? Phenomenal people. They've let me. I've got not a single thing to complain about. I am very happy with what I've been dealt with. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's the way I've been dealt with, the way I've been treated. Like when we were going in with the bigger fish, you know what I mean? We're signing with one of the bigger companies in the world. We're a little bit hesitant, right? You know what I mean? Where are we going to get fed to the wolves? Where are we going to get treated right? And I've got none to complain about because you know what? They put their pride to the side too. And they help local promoters like Lee, local people like Mark. Do you know what I mean? They got a really good connection with gym promotions and even Montreal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they are willing to work with anybody to help the fighters, right?
Right.
And then we need more promoters like that, more promoters like Promello, more promoters like Lee Baxter to come together. You know what I mean? The big fish helping the little guys out, right?
Right. Definitely. And we are trying to help as well. We've talked to these promoters. We want to hit all these shows, man, and we want to put everybody out there.
Man. Like what I said, just ring my line.
We'll be there. We'll be there.
Yeah. We'll get you guys a media pass, no questions asked.
Excellent. What's the biggest challenge that you think you faced in boxing today? Not just in Ontario, but just in boxing in general.
Do you think, are you saying as fighters in general, or are you just saying me personally?
You personally. What's the biggest challenge that you faced? Biggest obstacle?
I think the biggest obstacle is honestly on topic is getting, I think for somebody who's not from America or a country that's very supportive of boxing, because Canada isn't, you know what I mean? We're very hockey based. Yeah. Even basketball's taking over, soccer's taking over, stuff like that. I think the biggest obstacle right now is getting the coverage and the support from the country. Do you know what I mean? Not even boxing fans, just the regular citizens of our country. Do you know what I mean? Right. If that makes sense, like getting that backing, that following is, I feel like in other countries it's a lot easier. Do you know what I mean? Right. Like it's because there are certain countries that respect boxing a lot more and actually acknowledge what it does to the youth's lives. You know what I mean? You know how much drug dealers have been taken off the street because of boxing, you know, which lives have been saved. But I really feel like Canada in general has a negative look on boxing. Personally, like I really feel like schools don't support boxing anymore. Do you know what I mean? And that's a big thing, right? Like we tried to bring a poster for the show to the school and they said they don't support violence.
Oh, wow.
That's how you know you've never been in a boxing gym, right? Do you know what I mean? If you think don't get me wrong, on a high level, it is a violent sport, but I guarantee you won't meet more sportsmen like people than boxers. You won't meet more athletes that have more respect than boxers. And that's no disrespect to other sports, but I've been in almost every sport my whole life. And I found boxers the best people to get along with. You know what I mean?
It's
Don't get me
definitely
wrong.
one of the most humbling. It's one of the most humbling of sports.
Oh,
out there.
how can you be cocky? How can you really, 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 really be arrogant and mean it when you've been floored in the face? You know what I mean? Like, I got a funny saying, man. Like, well, it's not my saying, but it's a normal saying is you can tell who's been punched in the face and who hasn't. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Being punched in the face, even if it's on the street, at school, and boxing, being punched in the face is a humbling experience, and I think everybody should go through it.
Definitely. I think it builds character. It builds real character. And boxing is one of these things that just it sets up kids for success because it teaches them how to set goals. It teaches them how to work hard towards that goal, and it teaches them the rewards of reaching those goals.
Oh, 100%, man. Like I actually help run my gym now, Steeltown Boxing Club. I help run it. And the amount of kids that we come in here that can't even look at themselves in the mirror, and then next thing you know, you see them walking by a mirror and flexing.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, that's a great feeling. That's a goddamn good feeling to see. You know what I mean? You don't get that much from much things in life. You know what I mean? Like we had a kid once who couldn't run across the ring. I'm not over exaggerating. Could not run across the ring. That's how overweight he was. He ended up losing almost 200 pounds. Could do 15 push-ups. Would run 5 laps around the building. Wow. Like that's life changing. Do you know what I mean? For that kid, that's something that there's very few things in life that could have done that for him. Not even physically, mentally. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Boxing. A lot of people don't understand that boxing is a very mental game.
100%, man. They go watch Mike Tyson. They watch a Mike Tyson tape, and they hear him talking about, oh, kill this, kill that, kill that. But then they don't go watch what Mike Tyson's like as a person.
Right.
He's one of the most kind-hearted people you'll ever meet. You know what I mean? Like everyone that meets Mike Tyson says the same thing, right? In the ring, he's a killer, but what about outside, right? And so like I understand why parents would be hesitant getting their kid in the sport if they know nothing about it. But I really think it's one of the sports that a kid should go into. Maybe a month or day 2. I think a kid should go into it. But that's like what I said, right? We don't have the support from our country here. We don't have not even the political support, this, that. I'm talking about just the basic common household doesn't support boxing.
Your neighborhood, your local, that kind of support, your city support, all that.
Yeah, like if you go outside and you start hitting the pads out front on your driveway, people are probably going to call the cops or something.
So true. Where do you see yourself next year from now?
Next year, hopefully I got my first, let's say hopefully, so my contract technically started in March 25th, the day of my pro debut.
Yep.
So let's hope I get 1-2 more fights by then, possibly 3. I would love 3, but you don't know, right? That would put me at a lot of fights. So, but I hope to have my first title. I'm not going to say anything crazy like world title. This is a sport where you got to earn your keep, right?
Exactly.
And so by next year, hopefully, I have my first ranking title. That's my goal for the year. Be undefeated and have my first ranking title, if you know what I mean, like one that gets you top 20, top 10, top 15 in a certain organization.
Yep.
That's what I would like to see that by next year. And you got to learn the sport, right? Like, I'm not going to get a world title the first year. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You got to shoot for the stars to land on the moon. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
I agree. Think big. It'll come.
I'm going to be world champion one day, but will it be next year? I wouldn't even get that opportunity. I wouldn't have earned it yet. You know what I mean? You got to earn it.
Right. So we got a question here from one of our viewers. Do you have any good sparring stories? I know you have to, man. You got brothers. Let's see. I know you got some good ones.
Like between me and my brothers, I assume.
Let's see. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Honestly, not even me, but just entertaining sparring wise, Jesse and Steven's howls to watch because just first 2 rounds you'll see them go light, and then it can get real. It can get real intense and split up pretty often. Happens quite often. But actually, I got a funny one with Jesse. I don't know why, man. It was one of the dumbest things. I don't know why my brain just didn't process it. Jesse faked a jab to the body, and I bit on it.
No.
As he threw the right hand, I said a bad word. So I saw the punch coming, but I don't know why. I just didn't slip and I just ate it. And I was like, and then we just stopped and laughed. You know what I mean? But so like my body knew to react. And then when I fell for the trap, I said something inappropriate. And then I smiled and I got cracked. And then we just looked at each other. I was like, what the hell, man? Like,
oh man, some crazy sparring stories, man. That's
oh, yeah.
great. Honestly, what was it like at home? You know, not at the gym. Arguments. Did they turn in fights?
My dad didn't allow that. Obviously, there's been a few, but my dad didn't really allow that. You know what I mean?
Your dad would jump in and be like, no, boys. We'll save it when we get to the gym.
Yeah, there was not much of that.
Excellent. So, long-term goal. 5 years, 10 years from now, world championship. Is that what you're looking at? That's where you want to be?
Yeah. Especially 5 years from now. I would love to be world champion because that would put me at 27. Yeah, I would love to be world champion because if you want to make a living out of the sport, you kind of got to be a little bit earlier, right?
Right.
Like if that makes sense, you know what I mean? I'd like to hit that goal early so I can make the bigger fights for longer.
Right. When you're ready to hang it up, you're going to continue to train kids and.
Yeah. I'll never leave boxing. I'll always be involved in boxing.
Excellent. Honestly, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know you're a busy man.
I was going to say my batteries. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, no problem.
That's why I was looking at my screen. Was that now all of a sudden it's like,
but definitely. I want to ask this: first time you laid the guy out in the pro ranks, getting paid. What did it feel like to win?
It took me like a week to realize I get paid. I know how dumb that sounds, but yeah, I didn't even because. So the way it works is I get my minimum from the local promoter, and then Probellum transfers me the rest.
Right.
And but then I didn't realize it until I looked at my bank account. That's how weird my mind worked. I was just like, I was living in the moment, this, that. And then when I hit my bank account, I was like, damn, yo. I said, I'm getting paid for this now. Like, this is great. Like, this is dope. Like,
yeah. Now it's like I don't work overtime. I got to get in there and get it done.
Yeah. I want to crush people quick.
Hey, and you did Wednesday at Rebel. Wow, guys, you've seen this clip out there. I know the fans seen it, man. We got lots of likes on this one. Definitely vicious shot. Can't wait to see it. I can't wait to come out and see you again.
Oh, we got you, man. Hit my line. You'll be there, Brantford.
Definitely. We will be there ringside with our camera crew, man. You know what it is. Thank you, Spencer. I'll just stick around after I sign off here. To all the Talkin' Fight fans, man, thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Knuckle Up with yours truly, Mike Orr, and our special guest today, Spencer Wilcox of the Wilcox clan out of Steel City Boxing. You know what it is, man. We will see you tomorrow on this channel, same time, new interview. You know what it is. It's your man, Mike, saying Knuckle Up.